Sherlock Holmes remains one of the most iconic characters, even 125 years after he first appeared in print. People who have never read one of Doyle's stories still relate images of a pipe or a deerstalker to Holmes, and Holmes as a satire has appeared in pop culture so many times that even Wikipedia hasn't listed them all. Is it because Holmes is the quintessential fictional detective? Well, partially. I suspect it's just as much due to the fact that Holmes is the quintessential broken character, a genius who uses his almost aggressive social inadequacies to his advantage, where solving a case is more important than appearing to be normal. Whether it's because people relate to that sort of characterization or because they want to believe that someone brilliant has to be broken in some way, I can't really say. But that's where some backtracking comes into play. There were a total of 60 stories written by Doyle, but more than 200 film and television adaptations exist, and that's ignoring the characters like House that were based heavily on Holmes, as well as the fairly predominant character dresses up like Holmes pastiche that everyone from Tiny Toons to My Little Pony has done. I personally own a copy of a DVD titled Sherlock Holmes Film Festival, 17 hours, and by God, it's a DVD that no one will watch with me. Simply put, Sherlock Holmes is endearing. But why? Part of the answer goes back to the differences between Holmes, the book character, and Holmes, the movie character, or, more specifically, the fact that Holmes can successfully exist in multiple mediums. He can do this because he's almost a template of a character, a brilliant insert job description here, who is broken in some way. So, what's the point I'm trying to get to? The point is that Holmes, the movie and TV character, has gone through multiple versions while still remaining, at his essence, Sherlock Holmes. He's a character that can do what the director needs him to do. I don't think it's any coincidence that the socially maladjusted parts of his personality have been emphasized more in the recent characterizations of him, something we'll explore as we go. But, for now, we'll start with the black and white Holmes, the Holmes of the Great War, the Basil Rathbones and the Christopher Lees, the Holmes with the dumpy Watson sidekicks. I'll try to compare the movies with their written counterparts, assuming they exist, and I'll try to showcase how each Holmes of each generation fits in with the needs of that generation, as much as I'm capable of. I expect for this video series to be a mesh of things I've researched and opinions that I have, but my ultimate goal is not only to be informative, but to hopefully learn things myself. That sounds like fun, right? But really, at the end, I just want to talk a lot about fictional detectives. I intended to start out chronologically and give a little history of the pre-TV Holmes actors, but I'm finding it difficult not to mention the elephant in the room right away, so here we go. Basil Rathbone is one of the first, and arguably one of the most famous of the actors to portray Holmes. I also really hate Basil Rathbone. I'm talking Holmes hate here. So in real terms, I'm saying that I adore Rathbone slightly less than Jeremy Brett. But it's fair to say that a lot of the Holmes universe stereotypes originated from the Rathbone films. And there are a few of them that just offend me, personally. Because I'm the sort of person that has the spare energy to be offended by the way a fictional character is stereotyped. I'm talking about the deerstalker hat, right? While it is fantastically stupid, it's also visually striking, and I can see arguing for its effectiveness in promoting Holmes as the detective template, so no, I'm talking about the fat and stupid Watson. Fuck you, fat and stupid Watson. It's not really a personal attack against Nigel Bruce, who I'm certain was a very nice individual who collected homeless, starving puppies, but I feel like it's indicative of a problem. How to make Sherlock Holmes look supernaturally intelligent. In the stories, Watson's always the narrator, so there's some level of the events being filtered through his perspective, but he's never really depicted as being stupid. In fact, the fact that he's a reasonably intelligent man makes Holmes' brilliance even more obvious, which I always thought was the point. You know, Watson's a smart and worldly doctor, but even he couldn't figure out this thing that Holmes figured out. But, as we'll see, the Rathbone films often relied more on stories written for the movies than on retelling the original Doyle stories, so the mysteries that only Holmes can solve have to be created from whole cloth. And really, it's just easier to make Holmes look like a genius who can figure out anything when he's paired with a bumbling idiot. And maybe there's some level of comic relief going on, but that doesn't really fit in with my theory, so forget I mentioned it. The problem is twofold. One, the fat and stupid Watson shtick detracts from the movies, mostly because he's simply annoying. And two, this image of Watson lasted for a very, very long time. More recent adaptations have gone back to the charming and reasonably intelligent Watson, so it's my hope as a pedantic Holmes fan that this will end up being the more prevalent Watson image for a while, but as we go through the Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce movies, it will become very, very, very difficult not to mention. With that said, in the next video we'll dive right into Woman in Green, also known as Holmes valiantly solving the Great War all on his own while kissing blonde ladies. Yay.